let's say that you just experienced something that was overwhelming, sudden, terrifying. You must be experiencing the effects of trauma. And this is a big deal, right? Not necessarily. Or let's say you've been browsing social media or watching the news and seeing things that people, your family, friends are going through. And you think, well, what they're going through is way bigger than what I'm experiencing, so there's no way that I'm suffering from trauma, right? Again, not necessarily. Today I want to talk just a little bit about what trauma is. But first, let me introduce myself. My name's Jonathan Glover, and I'm a therapist new to working at the Marriage Recovery Center. But I've been a clinician for about 15 years. One of the areas that I specialize in is the treatment of trauma. When we're talking about trauma, there's two categories or two different types of trauma response that I'd like to identify. The first is what we call an acute trauma response. This is the response or adaptations, the reactions to the overwhelming event that occur immediately after. These typically last maybe a few days and up to several weeks. Now, it's been said that an acute trauma response is actually a normal adaptation to very abnormal situations. You know, we're not designed to be able to survive moving through the world and experiencing trauma on a day-to-day basis. We can't deal with death and accidents and injuries every single day, just being constantly surprised. But our bodies and our brains do know how to move us through difficult times and help us recover from these overwhelming events and environments, situations. When that doesn't happen the way that it's designed to, for lots of different reasons, but when that doesn't happen and some of those reactions and adaptations persist, that's called a chronic trauma response. And these can last months or years. Now, a chronic trauma response is a big deal because it not only affects our psychology, our mental state, but it can have damaging effects on our body, our relationships, and on our behavior. I guess the question is, why do some people seem to be able to return to that baseline calm state of operations while other people seem to develop these long-term effects? And the reason is I guess I could put it into three different categories, three different factors that are really needed in order for recovery to occur. The first is resilience, and that's a measure of how much we can handle without becoming dysregulated and losing a sense of ourself and our confidence and our ability to trust and maintain intimacy in relationships. Resilience is that. It's like our armor. The second factor is support. Support is very important. And support can come from family or friends. It can come from a therapist or other groups of people, clergy. And support is really, it's not only the support of your emotional state and the emotions that you've experienced through trauma, but also support and recognition of the traumatic experience itself, what that was like for you. That's really critical. Support is huge. Now, the third factor is that in order for healing and recovery to occur, we need to be in a different environment We can't continue to live in a traumatic environment, something that is keeping us in this elevated state of anxiety or fear. We need to be able to be outside of that environment. This is particularly difficult when a relationship itself is the source of trauma. If you're trying to navigate a relationship that is in itself traumatic, it might not be, it might contain, you might experience physical abuse, sexual abuse, really extreme situations, but that doesn't necessarily have to be present in order for you to be experiencing some type of trauma response. And this is really important to note, because I think a lot of people think that it has to be that extreme for you to have an effect on your body and on your psyche, your behavior, your relationships. And that's just not the case. So with those three factors, it's much more likely that we will be able to return to a base state of operations, that calm state. And this is really the goal of therapy. It's my goal when I'm working with clients, is to help them identify all the different dynamics and all the different factors that are present with what contributed to the trauma in the first place, what is currently happening, and what that repair will look like. If you are interested in learning more about this process or about trauma itself, contact our client care team at the Marriage Recovery Center. You can find links below, or check out our website for more information. Also, if you found this video useful, helpful in any way, consider subscribing for more videos like these. And we look forward to talking to you.